Welcome to the Cultivating You podcast with Anthony Duane.
What's good, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's episode of Cultivating You. I am your host, Anthony Duane, and I hope everyone had a great weekend filled with family, feasting, and football. And after 3 or 4 days of just shoving your face hole full of food, what better topic to discuss than fasting? Now, I know fasting is going to be a hard sell for a lot of people, especially as Americans. You know, we're told to constantly consume. We're told to eat every 3 hours to boost our metabolism, right? We have processed food and sugar-laden food in our grocery stores and on every corner. Our refrigerators and our cabinets are packed full of thousands and thousands of calories at our disposal, right? So we're just constantly in this consumption mode, and we never really give our body time to rest. And this is just simply not how our bodies have evolved to consume. You know, our ancestors over thousands and thousands of years, they went through long periods of deprivation. They went days and days on end without food. And because of that, our body had to evolve to learn to change fuel sources so that we can stay sharp and have energy to go out on the hunt and to make sure that we get that food. But now it's totally opposite. We don't have to do that anymore. Everything is here right in front of us, and because of this constant consumption, it's leading to a lot of cancer. It's leading to a lot of cardiovascular disease and Alzheimer's disease. And, all of this stuff can be prevented. We just have to utilize tools like fasting to our benefit. There's a reason why America is the most obese nation on the planet. Now, it would be very, very wise of us to take some notes out of our ancestors' notebook and induce these periods of deprivation voluntarily, right? Now, people they fast for many different reasons, okay? So you got people who are going to fast for spiritual reasons, people who are going to fast for health and wellness. That's why I fast. I have utilized it for fat loss, and I think a lot of people would love to do that and love to learn how to do that because it's a very, very effective way to get rid of fat, honestly. Buddhist monks, they eat in the mornings, and around 12 o'clock, they fast until the next morning, so they're fasting for a very long period of time. The Buddha himself was said to have fasted for 49 days as an ascetic. Jesus was said to fast for, 40 days and 40 nights, and the Muslims, they fast all through the month of Ramadan, right? So these traditions are deep-seated in us. We've been practicing fasting for a very, very long time. Plato and Aristotle, they fasted, and they actually required their students to fast while actually practicing and training with athletes, right? So there's some really amazing processes that happen, some mechanisms that are triggered through fasting that a lot of people don't know about and that are actually vital for our longevity and our well-being. And one of those processes is autophagy. Now, autophagy is the process of our body taking old, dead, and damaged cells and recycling them and using them for energy. And the only time you can do this is when you're not consuming. If you're constantly consuming, you're never letting these dead cells be released from your body, and they're actually building up and causing inflammation and causing the disease. So, this autophagy doesn't actually kick in till you're about 48 to 72 hours into a fast. So a lot of people are never even utilizing this. This autophagy also induces an anti-inflammatory response in our body. So bringing down inflammation. This is a huge factor in disease today, is inflammation. And when we're eating processed foods all the time, that inflammation is always kicking in. And I've noticed just by cutting down processed food, my back injuries, my back pains, my joints, everything just feels better. So anti-inflammatory effect is huge. And Another process is actually just getting into ketosis. So being without carbohydrates for a while, getting into ketosis is actually switching your body. Is your body switching its its fuel sources? So when your body is producing ketones, which are also anti-inflammatory, it's actually telling your body like we're going to start using body fat as fuel. So rather than using like glucose and the carbohydrates and all the other things that we're putting into the body, it's going to start using the body fat as fuel, which is a great thing because we store a lot of toxins in our body fat, and so if we can use that and get that broken down, it's kind of like a detox effect, right? Now, understand that this seems very daunting, right? And you may be asking me like, Tony, I'm not going to go without food for 3 days. I'm not asking anybody to do that. I'm going to work with you slowly here, and the information that I provide today is going to help you ease into this so that you can go through your fasting with relative ease. The first few times you do it, they're going to be uncomfortable, and that's just natural because we've built addictions up to sugar and all these other things. And when we go without those things, our body freaks out, and it's going to give us headaches, and it's going to make us irritable and hangry and things like that. But there are ways that we can minimize these bad, experiences that are part of the fasting process. So don't worry. If you don't want to jump into a 3 or 5 day fast, you don't have to. If you're like me, then maybe you will, because I do like to just jump in. I don't like dipping my toes in the water. You know what I'm saying? So, but if you're not like that, we're definitely going to get into, how you can start this process slowly. So building up to a fast, building up to your first fast, what you're going to want to do is basically set yourself on a pre-fast protocol. If this is something that you're deciding to do, maybe about a week or two before you start getting into your first fasting experience, you're going to want to cut down on carbohydrates, okay? So if you want to, let's say, get started with intermittent fasting, which I would say is probably the first and best and easiest step to start with if you want to build up to maybe a week-long spiritual fast or something like that. And intermittent fasting is basically taking a chunk out of the day, a 24-hour day that you are not eating, and only giving yourself a feeding window, a very small feeding window. And the most popular intermittent fast is a 16-8 ratio. So 16 hours of no eating, only water during that period, or maybe coffee or tea, and then giving yourself an 8-hour period where you eat all of your meals, right? And for most people, especially for people who are like pre-diabetic or who are overweight or obese, simply by employing this tactic, this tool, intermittent fasting, you will see everything in your life and your health improve very quickly just by introducing intermittent fasting. Now, going back to how we start this pre-fast protocol to lead up to that, again, start with low carb diet. You know what I'm saying? Get your body used to not having the carbs, because that's going to be, and no sugar and things like that building up to it. You don't have to jump right into no food. You just have to kind of clean up your lifestyle a little bit just to get it going and get your body used to not having those things. Once you do that, about a week or two prior, and then let's say the next day you're going to jump into, maybe not 16 hours, but maybe you're going to try 12 hours because you normally only go like 7 or 8 hours. You're only like not consuming, while you're sleeping, and, you like to get up and you have your breakfast. So you're just going to want to build up slowly. Like I said, go, instead of eating right when you wake up, try and push yourself and give yourself 2 hours where you're only drinking water, and water is huge. Right off the bat, water is really huge. You can, there's a lot of health benefits that can be had from just chugging about 30 ounces of water the first thing you do when you wake up. That's also going to get your stomach full. It's also going to tell your brain you're a little bit full, and you're not going to have this such a large appetite. Okay. Now that you've built up to 10 hours or so, maybe that was kind of easy for you. Maybe you're like, oh, okay, that wasn't so bad at all. I did feel a little hungry, but it wasn't uncomfortable, and then you can build up to 12 hours. And then next thing you know, maybe you're making it all the way to noon, right? You're making it all the way to noon and you didn't have any food. And then you're like, okay, let's start the feeding window. And, I don't really want to recommend this, but it's even shown in studies that if you're doing intermittent fasting, you don't even necessarily have to change what you're eating or your diet in any way. You just have to fit it all into this 8-hour period, and you're still going to see weight loss. You're still going to see improvements in health. So that's a pretty profound like realization. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I don't recommend it. I think you should always pair this with a healthy whole food diet, and you're just going to get results that much faster. Also pairing it with exercise and things like that. But again, we're starting slowly. We're going to build up to that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you need to try and eat the whole elephant all at once. That was a bad pun, but so like build up to it. You know what I'm saying? And intermittent fasting is great. It's really great. And once you can build up to the point where you can do that every day, the first part of your day, you're in ketosis. You're getting into ketosis. Your body is burning fat, and you're going to be more clear. You're going to have more energy, everything. You're going to have a little bit of clarity, and it's a really, really great way to build up. So now that you've got the 16-8 protocol established, maybe you want to try going a full day without food. That's going to be next step, right? All right, we did 16 hours. Let's just skip the meals and go the whole day and see if we can do it. All right. So my wife actually utilizes this practice, and it's helped her out a lot. And the way she utilizes it is she built up from intermittent fasting to doing a 1-day fast throughout the week, and she chose Mondays. Mondays are a great day to do a full fast because oftentimes we come off of the weekend, we've indulged a little bit, we've had some drinks, maybe we had some pizza with the kids, went to the movies or something, and it's Monday all day fast is a great way to reset ourselves and kind of get us back on track for the week. And so go for the 1-day fast. And after the 1-day fast, obviously we're jumping into the 2-day fast. Now, the 2-day fast is going to be something that you can do every week, but if you're going to be pairing it with intermittent fasting on the other days, you just need to be mindful that just like anything in life, you need to do fasting in moderation. Okay? Now, fasting is going to have detrimental effects to you if you do it too much. And, frankly, people can actually end up getting eating disorders by becoming addicted to fasting. We can become addicted to all these things. So, moderation, everything, this is a tool, and use it to balance yourself out. Don't go super extreme off the deep end with it. Okay. But just be mindful that once you get into the 2-day fast, okay, once a week for 2-day fasting is pretty good. You may not want to do it every day with intermittent fasting. And like for me personally, I will do intermittent fasting only 5 or 6 days a week. Now, the reason for that is because for men who do intermittent fasting or just fasting in general for long periods of time, you put stress on your body. Same thing goes for women, but for men, you're gonna start feeling a little bit lethargic if you do it too much. It's going to affect your libido. Because it can actually lower your testosterone if you do it too much, and it could actually start giving you some hair loss. And a lot of you guys, you don't need to lose any more hair. You don't have these luscious locks here. You know what I'm saying? No, just kidding. But these are some of the symptoms that you're going to start to see if you start overutilizing this. Okay, for women, same thing. You can go through hair loss, and you can actually your menstrual cycle will actually become off. And as soon as you notice these things, hopefully you don't get that deep into it. And this is not meant to scare anybody away from fasting, but I just want you to be informed that you don't want to overdo it. So like I said, always utilize at least 1 day a week where you're not fasting. You know what I'm saying? And if you're cutting carbs out completely, maybe add some carbs in a day out of the week, and, or have that 1 day where you go out and go eat fast food or do something if you're getting really strict with it. But make sure your body is just metabolically flexible. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to get used to this thing because your body adapts really quick, and it will. But you want to kind of keep it guessing, just like lifting weights. You want to kind of switch it up every now and then so that your body's adapting to it. All right. So on to a 3-day fast, right? Now, 3-day fast at this point, I utilize the 3-day fast every 30 days. So personally, I'm doing intermittent fasting. Actually, I just stopped doing intermittent fasting because I'm actually trying to gain a little bit of weight now. I did shred down a little bit. I got rid of a lot of body fat, and now I'm trying to build some like lean muscle back on. So I'm not doing intermittent fasting as much anymore. But when you are doing it, but when I was doing it, I was utilizing it, and I was doing it about 5 days a week, and I was doing a 3-day fast every month, every 30 days. Okay. And that's what I would recommend for a 3-day fast. And these are my favorite fasts. These get you into ketosis. They get you into autophagy. And you really get a lot of the good benefits for a 3-day fast. So I really recommend anybody that even just wants to jump into a 3-day fast. I've had a couple people hit me up and ask me for some advice, and without even having intermittent fasted or done anything like that, they jumped right into a 3-day fast and they did it. They said it was a little uncomfortable, but they did it, and there was a lot of improvement that they had from it. So I totally recommend the 3-day fast. It's great. My wife utilizes the 3-day fast. She does it. She's actually been doing it more than I have. She does it consistently every month. And I think for her, she's, using it as that reset. And so I think we started in about April. It's November now. And she's lost, I believe, 20 pounds. Well, obviously, we've been like working out as well, but it's just been like walking for 45 minutes in the evening and cleaning up our diet and utilizing fasting. And she's lost, I want to say over 20 pounds. She's lost like 25 at least. My mother has also utilized the 3-day fast. And I was actually pretty surprised when my mom was just like, yeah, I'm doing the 3-day fast. I'm jumping right into it. And she did it like with flying colors, and she's already done it 2 or 3 times. She's down in weight. She's starting to walk. So all around blessings. Like, I'm just really happy that the people around me are actually trying this out for themselves, and they're seeing positive results with it. And it really just does make you feel better, more energy all around. It's really great. Now, the 5 to 7 day fast. Okay. 5 to 7 day fast. I've done one of the 5-day fasts, and I personally lost 16 pounds on the 5-day fast. Now, I'm not saying everyone should go do this for weight loss, but it's pretty remarkable seeing those results. I did gain back 3 or 4 pounds once I started eating, because some of that is just water weight, and you will put that back on. And the majority of the large pounds lost in a fast is water weight. But if you're doing 2 and 3 day fasts, you're actually burning a lot of body fat as well. But I would actually recommend to once you get in the 5 and 7 day fast, maybe cut it down to maybe 3-4 times a year that you're doing these. Also with intermittent fasting here and there in moderation, like I said. But these are great. So a little bit of personal history with the 5-day fast and my experience with them is they're pretty intense. The 5-day fast was very intense. And I also want to get into the types of fasting, because you have different types of fasting. You have water fasting, which is just purely water, right? And the other type of fast that I've used is the bulletproof fast. And this is a method that was created by a guy named Dave Asprey, who's considered to be kind of like the father of biohacking. And he's been doing fasting for a long time, has a lot of knowledge. I recommend reading his book. It's called Fast This Way by Dave Asprey. A lot of good information in there. And basically what he discovered as he was, I believe he was hiking around in Nepal or something, and he was amongst like the Sherpas of Nepal, and they're amazing. They're up and down these mountains, and they utilized a tea with yak butter in it. And through drinking this tea with yak butter, he found that they were actually still staying in a fasted state. And with the butter being, solely fat, pretty much calories from fat, it was still allowing him to be in ketosis and in a state reaching autophagy through fasting. And so through that, he created what's known as bulletproof coffee. And bulletproof coffee consists of coffee with grass-fed butter and MCT oil. and this really just kind of boosts your brain power. It actually gets you into ketosis really fast. And personally, I've used this bulletproof coffee and straight water fasting on a 3-day fast and 5-day fast. Now, I've had, as far as weight loss goes, I have similar results. In the 3-day fast and the 5-day fast, I've lost the same exact amount of weight on both of them. So I know it's not really altering that aspect, but the one thing that I like better about the bulletproof fast is that the coffee itself, now this is just black coffee with butter and MCT oil. You don't put creamer, you don't put sugar, anything like that in it. But this little jolt of caffeine and this butter with fat and the MCT oil, it actually satiates your appetite a little bit. It does give you a little bit of calories, but like I said, technically you're still in a fasting state. You're still getting all the beneficial aspects of fasting while drinking this. Now, my first 5-day fast, I did water fast, and I got to about the 5th day and I was feeling really, really bad. And I was like, I was going to stop because I was not feeling very good. And you know what? I was like, instead of quitting, I'm going to try and utilize the bulletproof coffee. And I did. I drank it. It gave me a jolt of energy, satiated me for a bit, and I was actually able to make it through the end of the night, and start my, and break my fast that evening. So it got me through. But the overall benefit of it is that you just feel better. You just feel better the whole time. You're not like, it's not as such a uncomfortable experience. The water's great. Water is great, but water only fasts are mainly, and what I discovered for like extreme like purists who are like, no, it only can be done this way, and like it's for like masochists, you know what I'm saying? And it's probably the reason why I chose to do that for like the first 3 times that I fasted, because I'm just like that too. I was like, no, I got to do it right. I got to do it this way, and this is the purest way. And when I read this book and I heard that, I was just like, I'm just putting myself through pain that I don't need to put myself through. And I literally am getting the same results from the bulletproof as the water, but I'm actually feeling better on the bulletproof. So, the water fasts are great for a spiritual fast. You really want to endure some pain and go inward and really overcome a lot of these things. Highly recommend that. That's going to be a great experience, even though it is uncomfortable, but you got to expect that uncomfortable feeling. But if you just want to try it out and not feel so bad, I definitely recommend the bulletproof fast. Okay, so there's a few other ways that you can fast. I haven't tried these ways, but they are other avenues that are worth looking into. Some people use like supplementation for fasting, and I actually would recommend doing this. I'm going to start doing this, but there's a few minerals that are essential so that we don't become like dehydrated and start feeling really bad. And those are potassium and magnesium and salt. And so if you can supplement with those things while you're only doing a water fast, that's going to be another thing that just kind of keeps you from feeling really bad. Another thing is activated charcoal. As your body's detoxing, you're having stomach issues. Even Native American cultures, they realize that charcoal, once you put it into your system, it actually binds with all the toxins that are being released through your body fat and through all these detoxification processes. It binds with them, and then it releases it through your urine and your defecation, and it actually keeps you from having like really bad experiences like detox experiences. So activated charcoal is another thing to look into. To backtrack a little bit, water, if you are choosing to do a water only fast, really be mindful about the water that you're drinking, because this is the only thing that's going into your body for 3 or 5 days or however long you plan on doing it. So my personal recommendation is, if you can find Mountain Valley spring water. I usually find this at like Sprouts or Whole Foods. It's kind of expensive, obviously. It's like $2.50 for, a couple liters. But it's spring water. It's straight from a spring. It has all the essential minerals that you need, and it's not in a plastic bottle. It's in a glass bottle. And you know what I'm saying? So even just be mindful about the containers that they come in, these plastic bottles that are holding our water. You don't know where they're coming from. They could be sitting in a hot truck that's being transported to where you're at from wherever they came from. And all these microplastics are being leached into your water. So be really mindful about where you're getting your water. If you have a really great reverse osmosis filtration system, that would be a great way to start too. And then also, if you have that, you're going to want to utilize, the minerals for not being dehydrated, just because, reverse osmosis, I believe, even though it filters all the bad out of the water, it kind of filters some of the good as well. So you don't want it to be void of efficient minerals that you need. So that's going to be something you want to take into consideration. Salt is get some good sea salt, and every time you fill up your cup or you fill up your jug or whatever you're using, put a half a teaspoon or put a couple of shakes of salt in your water, and that's going to help keep you hydrated, because you're going to piss a lot. You're going to piss like 30 times a day, especially because you want to drink a lot of water while you're fasting. I was drinking up to a gallon a day, at least 3 liters a day, I believe. So you want to stay hydrated, because you're gonna need the energy. You're gonna want to fill the void in your stomach, and you want to get that salt back into your body. Okay. Now, so as far as the other types of fasting go, you can do juicing. So if you have a juicer, get a bunch of vegetables and fruits and make some juices, and those have a bunch of like micronutrients and everything within the juices. They don't have fiber. It's not technically a true fast, but if you wanted to utilize juice while you're still getting nutrients and stuff like that, that's a great way to fast as well. Another one that I heard from somebody was just by getting a bunch of vegetables and potatoes and cutting them up and putting them into a big pot and making like a stew and boiling all that, and then straining out all the whole pieces and the fiber and stuff, and just drinking the vegetable broth throughout your fast, and that's going to give you some nutrients as well, so that it's not so not so painful or uncomfortable, if you will. So vegetable broth. Obviously, the coffee and tea, you don't have to even go through the bulletproof route. Black coffee and just black tea is really good. Also, a lot of the like lipids within the coffee and the tea are great for your body. So that's another way to do it as well. Now, there's also other ways of fasting, and you may have heard of these. They're called UMAD, NOMAD, and OMAD, and those are acronyms. So NOMAD is no meals a day. UMAD is actually, I forgot what that one means. OMAD is 1 meal a day, and I'm sorry, I spaced on the UMAD, but basically those are just like fasting and having is like 1 meal a day. You're going to be putting all your calories into 1 meal a day. So, you might just have one large meal, and some people find that they like that. I did try it for a little while, and I found that I just wasn't hungry a lot. After I got used to it, I just wasn't hungry. And, by the end of the day, I would enjoy that meal, that one big meal. But I did feel pretty good, I guess. I was just kind of letting my system rest with that one. But I didn't care for it. I ended up going to 2 meals a day. I really like the 2 meals a day with intermittent fasting, but those are other things to kind of look up if you're interested in like researching fasting or anything like that. UMAD, OMAD, NOMAD, stuff like that. So now, breaking your fast. If you're going to be doing a fast of 2 days or more, typically 3 days or more, you're going to want to break this fast very gently. If you just go right into eating like crazy, you're probably going to shit yourself. And that's just because your body's kind of shut down. You know what I'm saying? Your body's shut down. These processes are turned off, and you kind of, before you just dump a bunch of food back into your system, you kind of want to slowly get that system kick started, right? You kind of want to warm it up. So coming out of a 3 or 5 day fast is very important to pay attention to what you put in your body. Now, what I typically do is I get some bone broth, either chicken or beef bone broth, and I'll warm that up, and I'll put like a tablespoon of butter in it, and I'll drink probably 16 ounces of that. And it's got some protein in it. It's got a lot of like salts and everything like that, and it's basically going to get what's called mTOR fired up. I don't know the exact acronym for mTOR, but it's basically the process that your body goes through when starting a fast again, and it's introduced to protein again, and then all these processes start kicking back up in your body. But you want to start off lightly. You don't want to just dive right in, and it's just going to mess your stomach up. So you can do some light bone broth to come out of it. You can maybe eat like an egg or two, maybe some veggies or some fruits, like just very small amounts to just initially break that fast. And I'm telling you, the first time you eat again after this, it's going to be amazing. You're going to be like, this is the best egg I've ever had in my life, or this is the best salad I've ever had in my life. And that's a really great feeling after kind of depriving yourself for so long. But after you do get that initial tiny meal in, you're going to want to wait about an hour or so. And then once those processes are kicked back in motion, then have yourself a good sized meal, a normal meal, and try not to make that like crazy processed food or anything. Maybe get some like chicken breasts and make a salad with some good veggies and like an oil based dressing or something like that to get that started. So you just don't want to just jump right back into it. So yeah, bone broth, eggs, veggies, then your big meal. I did kind of jump ahead. So before you break the fast, if you actually want to take this, clean out of your body, even to the furthest level, I can recommend also doing a saltwater flush. Now, I wouldn't do this every single time, but definitely the first time that you fast, I would definitely try this out. So basically what you're going to want to do is take about a liter and a half of water and put 2 heaping teaspoons of sea salt and put that in there, shake that up, get it dissolved really good. And then you're going to want to drink this liter and a half or liter about as fast as you can. It's a lot. It's a lot of water and it's a lot of salt. It tastes horrible. It's really gross. But through the act of fasting, you're basically cleaning out your system, right? This is going to really flush you. And you're going to be surprised, especially after 3 or 5 days of no eating. This is going to flush you out, and you're going to realize that there's still a lot of crap inside of you. Excuse me. There's a lot of things in your intestines just sitting there. And it was kind of funny. Me and Crystal, me and my wife, we did this on our first 3-day fast. And within about 20 minutes after our first fast, both of us ran to the bathroom. Luckily, we have 2 of them, or else that would have been, one of us would have been in the shower. That would have been fun at all. It might have been hilarious, but who knows? And literally both of us were on the toilet for about an hour, just, super soakers coming out of our ass. But it was like cleaning out the remaining junk in our system. And I know that's kind of nasty to hear, but it's actually a great feeling. And you really clean it out. You really cleanse. And for me, for me, in the days after that, when I started eating, like my bowel movements were so much like efficient. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just getting them. They were coming right out. They weren't sloppy. They weren't nothing. Like it was almost like my body was like the lining was cleaned out of my intestines, and my body was absorbing nutrients better. Like my digestion was better. And this is all signs of health. You know what I'm saying? Like I know it's a little gross, and I don't mean to gross anybody out, but it's a cool and weird observation to make. When you're going through this and when you're doing these things. And it feels really good. I had less just stomach pain overall, felt lighter after meals. And so I highly recommend the salt flush. Again, don't utilize it every single time. But it's a great tool as well. And something I forgot to touch on is kind of clearing your body and your gut of this of the harmful bacteria that are, because we all have bacteria in our bodies, right? And a lot of the bacteria is really good. We need a lot of this good bacteria for digestion and things like that. But there's a lot of bad bacteria, and even studies have shown that some of this bacteria is actually the cause for our weight gain. I'm sorry. And so having these bad bacteria within our gut, this microbiome in our gut, is actually is not great for our health. And so giving ourselves a good flush and cleaning our body out, and especially a 3 or 5 day fast, will really do that. It'll really reset the flora and fauna of your gut, like the microbiome of your gut, and promote good gut health, right? And our guts are important. I even read a study recently that within our gut there are brain cells. There are brain cells in our guts. So when they say, when they talk about having a gut feeling, these things are true. Like that's a real thing, because it's just very important to our health and our vitality. So make sure you're taking care of your gut. Yeah. So I believe I've touched on everything that I want to touch on. There's so much information to actually go over when it comes to fasting, and I may even go into a part 2 of this podcast to just go into a little bit more depth. But I really just wanted to lay out like the basic foundation, the basic information that you needed to get started with fasting. And I'm hoping that, this is something that most people want to try out, because it's, like I said, it's really a great reset. Fasting in any form, fasting from dopamine, like getting off of social media for a while, getting off of alcohol that helps reset your brain and your cuts down on the fatty liver, all these different things, sugars, getting rid of sugars and getting rid of all this stuff. We can fast in different ways in our life. Just fasting from stimulation, like watching things all the time, so fasting in general, depriving ourselves is actually a great thing, because most of the time we're just looking for instant gratification, right? We're looking for something, we get a feeling and we want to like maybe reach for a cookie, and that cookie just tastes so damn good, and it gives us happiness for 3-5 minutes maybe, but over time that it just really like it makes us miserable in the future. You know what I'm saying? Deprivation and holding back from the things that we want, and cutting down to basic needs and things that we just absolutely need is going to give you actually a prolonged sense of happiness. It really is. And it might seem counterintuitive, but that's really the way it goes. Because when you could become happy with having less, you're actually more grateful for the things that you do get when you get them. It's really a simple concept. And, it's something that I just don't think a lot of people get. You know what I'm saying? I've been very strict with myself lately. I haven't been, eating cakes and sugars and soda and all the chips and all these things. And so like, even when I go to like a company gathering or something, and there's somebody's birthday party and they're having cake or they're having cupcakes, or they're like, oh, do you want some? And I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't really eat that stuff right now. I'm going through this challenge, and blah blah blah. I go through my little spiel with it, and it's like, oh, most people are just like, oh, I could never do that. I could never do that. No, man, I want to live my life. And you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's always funny when people say to me, oh, I want to live my life and I want to enjoy my life. But what they don't realize is they're actually making their lives harder. You're making your lives more miserable by giving into your indulgences constantly and all of your desires. I've never felt better in my life. I've kind of stepped away, and it's not to say that I'm going to step away from them for forever. You know what I'm saying? But for me to go through a 3-month period of deprivation where I'm becoming more whole and finding some internal peace and just being comfortable with what I have, I'm finding that I'm much more happier and I have more energy for life. I have more vitality. I'm more motivated. You know what I'm saying? I'm all these things. So it's like, you really want to live your life, then start taking care of yourself. Don't quit giving into every indulgence and every urge that you have. It just doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. I hope those words help you. They help you realize that it may be worth it to start thinking about your health, or maybe start losing a little bit of weight. Obviously, this stuff's going to keep us from living a prolonged life. And if you have kids and you have family that you love and adore and you want to be around for longer, then why not? Why not spend a good 3 or 4 or 5 months to kind of help reset yourself and set yourself up for a longer, happier, more vital life? It's at 3 to 6 months goes by in the blink of an eye. You know what I'm saying? It seems like it's long, but it goes by really quick. So I implore everybody to try out fasting and, get better in every other way that they can think of for themselves and for those around them. All right. Well, I appreciate y'all listening in to today's episode. I hope to come back with another good one for you. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. If there's anything you feel like I missed, drop it in the comments. Get a hold of me, cultivatingyou podcast@gmail.com. Send me some questions. I want to know what you want to know about, so that I can start looking into them and start practicing myself, and we can have a discussion about it. You know what I'm saying? Prolific_Pappy at Instagram, Cultivating You on Instagram and Facebook. Hit me up everywhere. Okay. All right. I'm glad to be able to do this for you, and I hope you all have a great day, great holiday season, and thanks for tuning in. Peace.